Hello guys and welcome back to the FPL transfer tips video for game week 20. This is the buy, sell, hold and ignore series. And yeah, game week 20 is very quickly on the horizon. It is a Saturday deadline, so we thought we'd get this video out for you guys, do a little stream and do the transfer tips video. How you doing, Jordan? How's things?
Yeah, all is well. But yeah, game 20 is coming thick and fast, so we're here with a transfer tips video, and yeah, there's be interesting picks I think for the buy, sell, hold and ignores, because obviously the short turnaround that this game week has brought to us.
Yeah, around this period, you always forget what day it is. It is a Friday today. I always feel like after Christmas and Boxing Day, you don't really know what day we're on at the moment. But yeah, it is a Friday and it is a deadline tomorrow, so we thought we'd break it down for you guys. So let's start off with the first buy. And the guy I've selected as a buy is actually Jared Bowen. Now, as you'll see later on, I am actually considering Jared Bowen in my own team. And yeah, what's there to say about Jared Bowen so far this season? He's been on fire, really. You take a look at his price, 7.9 million. He's had a price rise. You know, his ownership is hitting that 25% mark now. He's already had 178,000 transfers in, and that's going to go up going into that game week 20 fixture, obviously. And also, you know, you take a look at his goals, 11 goals already so far this season, which is brilliant. You know, I think only Salah has more. I think Salah's got 12 in regards to like wingers and midfielders. So he's doing really good, Bowen, and I've been impressed with watching him. He's been super consistent. Even the tougher fixtures, he has returned. You know, he got a goal against Spurs. Got a goal, didn't he, against Man United, got an assist against Arsenal as well in the 2-0 win. And yeah, Bowen is definitely someone that I think is going to be very popular. When you take a look at his next 3 fixtures, they look really nice on paper, and I can see a lot of us bringing him in. You know, Brighton at home next year. Yes, Brighton did win 4-2, but we've seen Brighton all season long struggling to keep clean sheets. So we can count on West Ham scoring. And then after that, it's Sheffield and Bournemouth. So the next 3 look really nice on paper. Man United in game week 23 as well. You can see Bowen potentially getting a return there. And Arsenal, we've just seen him get an assist against Arsenal. So don't rule out Bowen for that fixture as well. So for the next 5, I'm pretty happy with the way the fixtures look. And he's someone that I'm definitely considering bringing into my team. And yeah, you take a look at his underlying numbers as well. Expected goals per 90, 0.43 is not too bad at all. And he is a consistent returner. He's pretty much returned most games. He's not getting the super double-digit hauls, like explosive, like double-digit hauls. I think he's only got 1, but he is getting you 8 points, 7 points, 8 points, which is a lot more than players like Saka are doing at the moment. And obviously, a lot of us have Saka. If we moved to Bowen earlier on, I mean, it would have paid dividends. But yeah, Bowen, I still think it's a good time to bring him in now, and he's definitely one that I think you guys should be looking to bring in ahead of game week 20. Let's talk about a player you've selected, Jordan. You've gone with another pick as a buy, and you've gone Alvarez as a buy. Talk us through this one and the thoughts behind this.
Yeah, I think this is quite an obvious and popular pick this week, because in fact Alvarez is the most transferred in player for game week 20 at this current moment, with 266 of at least of you transferring him in for especially that Sheffield United at home fixture. And I think because of the confirmation that Pep gave about Haaland not guaranteed not starting in game week 20 or even in the team, gives the automatic forward position to Alvarez, and obviously the 90 minutes as well on top of that. So he's guaranteed to play 90-minute football, I think, in the absence of Haaland. And with the Sheffield United home fixture, there will be a few of you looking to think captain as well Alvarez when you've brought him in, as there is a few captain shouts for this week, and Alvarez is being one of them, I believe, as well. And he doesn't come off with a bad return from game week 19, obviously from scoring that goal against Everton in that controversial penalty. That is debatable whether it was or not, but it was given, and Alvarez did score it, and that did reward him with the 8 points. So I think that has promoted himself a bit going forward into game week 20 against Sheffield for a contender for a captaincy pick. Now his ownership has shot up ever since that moment. Obviously, when Game Week 19 ended, literally his ownership was about 22% when I last saw it. It's now soared over 30%. So a lot of you have brought him in, and the transfers are coming in thick and fast. That 266 that's risen since then to much more. And his price as well at 6.9 is a reasonable price. And I think for those who still have Haaland, they've probably transferred out Haaland for Alvarez as a substitute, as he isn't going to start, obviously, in that next fixture against Sheffield United at home. So, yeah, Alvarez becomes the next best popular pick, I think, in terms of Man City assets. There are others to consider, obviously, in Man City, but I think in terms of Alvarez being a forward position, it does give the automatic go ahead to go with Alvarez as a buy, I think, for this week. And I think the fixtures after Sheffield United at home as well are pretty good for Man City too. Worthy of keeping Alvarez for the long-term hold if you plan to keep him for the foreseeable fixtures, because they aren't too bad. Even that Newcastle away one, that could be pretty good for Alvarez, I think, as well. And yeah, I've liked the look of Alvarez. I'm an Alvarez owner myself, and I have been a bit iffy on whether I'd want Alvarez in my team, but after that Everton fixture has given me a bit more belief in keeping Alvarez. I wasn't sure whether he was going to be a hold or not for me, but yeah, I think this is the reason why I think Alvarez is definitely a buy this week. He's got Sheffield United at home, and it's worthy of a captaincy as well on top of that. And yeah, hopefully Alvarez does do well in that fixture.
Yeah, just to add on the Alvarez chat as well. Obviously, for someone like myself who doesn't have Alvarez, and I've got 2 free transfers, I think it's a bit of a tough one as well, whether you buy him or not. Because if you're in my position and you want to bring Alvarez in Game Week 21, Haaland comes back, we assume, and then what happens to Alvarez? You sell him because he seems very short term, in my opinion. So I do think managers will have to make a decision on what they do with Alvarez, especially if you don't own him right now and you're bringing him in, because I do feel like it's very short term. But the fixture this week obviously is very nice. What do you think? Like, for example, in my situation, bringing him in and then potentially if Haaland's back, then you might want to take Alvarez out because you've got Watkins, you potentially have Solanke. Have you thought about that as well?
Yeah, I think in my view, personally, I don't think it's worth it if you're going to take out Haaland now for Alvarez. I think it's only worth it if you take out another forward that you particularly don't want to keep and you don't think is going to be a future long hold for you. But taking out Haaland now for Alvarez, no, I wouldn't agree with that whatsoever. I think to buy Alvarez, yes, you can. I think that's a good move, but I don't think for Haaland is the right way to go. I think for any other forward that isn't really on form, then yeah, I would suggest buying Alvarez.
Okay, let's move on to some sells then. Some players we recommend that you should be looking to offload. So first up, I've gone with Gordon as a selection. Now I own Gordon myself, and as you know, I am looking to actually remove Gordon from my team. He has been a bit frustrating in the last few weeks. I think he's only got 1 return in the last 5 matches. However, he's actually had a good season so far. Overall, 6 goals, 6 assists is pretty good. He is been transferred out quite a lot. 270,000 managers nearly. The ownership is now 22%, so he's still fairly highly owned. And we know the chat around Newcastle right now. Newcastle, losing to Luton, and then losing to Forest as well, back-to-back losses. And they've been a bit underwhelming. They've looked a bit leggy over this Christmas period. Some of the players look tired. We know they've got injuries. And they're just not looking great. And in terms of the fixtures as well, they've kind of swung to be the other way. So they've had their easy fixtures on paper, which was Luton and Forest, and they lost both of those. And now they've got Liverpool away. They've got Man City after that, then Aston Villa after that. So the next 3 fixtures are probably one of the 3 best teams in the league. In Liverpool, Man City, and Villa. So the fixtures don't look great. And I think if you do have Gordon, I think he's a sell. You could go to someone like a Bowen. You could go to someone like Richarlison. There's other options out there. I think if you don't want Gordon in your team, and for me personally, I think he's a sell, and maybe revisit again in Game Week 23 when Newcastle's fixtures turn again. But for the next 3, if you do want to hold him, I certainly wouldn't be playing him in those matches. I'll try bench him in the next 3. But for that reason, I would be selling Gordon. And if you can, move to a Foden, a Bowen, Palmer even potentially, I would do it 100%. So yeah, Gordon for me is definitely a sell. Um, what about you for the next sell, Jordan? Obviously, you've gone with Saka, which is an interesting one. Talk
Yeah.
us through this one because obviously the fixtures the next three look really good.
Yeah, because I think a lot of us are thinking about this, but I did say this, I think 3 game weeks ago, that Saka could potentially be a player that we don't hold on to for the long term hold as we thought we would. But with let's see the player form for the last 5 game weeks. I mean, since game week 15, Saka's had 1 assist, but after that, in game week 16, 17, 18, and 19, there's been no returns whatsoever from Saka. And I know he's got 8 assists so far this season, which is pretty good for a midfielder, but it just feels like Saka at the moment isn't really firing on all cylinders. And Arsenal in general, we're not seeing the same attacking potential that we did last season, like we did saw from Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli, these type of assets where we would be doubling up on Arsenal assets in the midfield or even tripling up on them. But at this current moment in the season, I don't think I particularly want any Arsenal midfielders. Just the way the structure of the team is going for Arsenal, it seems like it's swung. You see Kai Havertz scoring goal, maybe a Trossard scoring a goal, and then maybe Saka getting an assist from an easy fixture, let's say against Brighton, for example, or Luton. I highly expected more from those games, and even the Liverpool one, where Saka usually turns up for those type of fixtures, but it hasn't seemed really to go really well for Saka in easy or hard fixture difficulties in the past few game weeks, and it's looking like he's becoming a sell. I think I'm actually surprised that his ownership is still at around 57% and it hasn't dropped at all, considering
Yeah,
how many blanks he's had, especially in the last 4. He's had 4 blanks in the last 4 game weeks. His last return was Luton in game week 15, which was only an assist, which got him that 5-pointer.
he's also the highest owned player in the game as of now. Like he's actually overtaken Haaland. So Saka is the highest owned player in the whole game. And yeah, it's interesting to see that obviously you recommended him as a sell. I sort of do agree with you because I even said, I think I said in the knee jerk stream, I've been quite disappointed with Saka, even though the fixtures have turned. I personally will be holding, but he doesn't convince me. And at that price, 9 million, there are other better players, in my opinion, that are offering better value for money. So yeah, it's an interesting one that you've gone Saka for sell. Um,
Yeah.
on your obviously on your pick. But yeah, let us know what you guys think in the comments as well, because I'm sure this one will be an interesting one. Let us know your thoughts on Saka as well, and it'd be interesting to hear what you guys think. But yeah, also guys, if you are tuning in, please do smash the like button and also make sure you are subscribed. Let's move on to some players that we think you should hold on to though, because there are a few players. So first one up is Palmer. Now I've gone Palmer as a hold. Now we know Palmer was suspended for game week 19 in Chelsea's late win against Palace because he picked up the 5 yellow cards. And Palmer's now available again, and he's got Luton away. Now, Luton away, I don't think it's going to be an easy fixture for Chelsea. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a shock result there because we've seen Luton at home do pull off some nice little wins. You know, we saw it against who was it again? Against Arsenal, they gave a scare to Arsenal, or they drew to Liverpool, didn't they? They beat Newcastle. So they do kind of raise it in these games. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do something against Chelsea here. However, I wouldn't be selling Palmer before he's got Luton away. I just think you probably have more other things to worry about. And even after that, Fulham in game week 21, Wolves in 23, Palace in 24. So I think for the next 5 get fixtures, Palmer looks fine. And I'd wanting to hold him for the next 5 and then maybe look to get rid after game week 24 when there's another swing for Chelsea's fixtures. So he's 5.6 million. Now, I've been a long-term Palmer adopter. I've had him since like game week 8. I think I bought him in when he was like 4.9 million. And he's had a lot of price rises since then, about 6, 7 price rises. And he has become a popular player. Obviously, he's on penalties, we know. Unfortunately, obviously, Chelsea did pick up a penalty against Palace. Madueke took, obviously, due to Palmer not being on the pitch. So that would have been nice for us owners. But 74,000 people transfer him out. I don't see why. I just think at his price, you may as well just keep him. Unless your team's perfect and you want to get in another player at that price, that's better. You could go for it. But for me, Palmer's 100% a hold. I think the fixtures, the next 3 or 4 fixtures aren't too bad. Barring that Liverpool game in game week 22 could be a bit tough. But I still like Palmer's as a threat. 6 goals, 4 assists. His expected goal involvement per 90, 0.75. So he is one of the main players at Chelsea. We've seen what improvement he's had since he's been playing like regularly for Chelsea, and I think he's one of the better players. And I wouldn't be wanting to get rid of Palmer personally. But yeah, Jordan, let's move on to another hold. Your selection, you've gone with Salah as a hold. I mean, this one's an interesting one because I didn't realize he's got that many transfers out.
Yeah, surprising. Yeah, he has about at least 60,000 players have transferred out Salah before his match against Newcastle at home. And
That's mad.
yeah, it's a big fixture to sell Salah to. Even though I considered taking him out with a potential wildcard this game week. But yeah, I definitely think Salah is a hold for this fixture just before he goes to AFCON in Game Week 21. Newcastle at home, Anfield at home, playing Newcastle in the form they're in at the moment. I say that is definitely one you don't want to sell Salah to, especially the way we saw Newcastle play. It's not the Forest at their own home ground, where they were massively defeated by them. I think I'd be very surprised if Salah blanks in this fixture. It will surprise me quite a bit because it is a fixture where I see Liverpool absolutely putting this one potentially very early on to bed. If Newcastle having a very iffy kind of game, because Liverpool in their position, top of the table at the moment, they have a lot to play for. Even though Newcastle do as well for obviously the top 5, I still think Liverpool will want to stay top until through the new year at least. And yeah, they're going to give it all they can, I think, in this game. And Salah being one of the key players, I think, will potentially get a goal, maybe 2, depending on how the game goes. But yeah, I definitely don't want to be selling Salah against Newcastle at home in Game Week 20. I'll definitely be holding on to him. I know he goes to AFCON and you want to offload these players that are going to AFCON and Asia Cup, but Salah will be the last in that selection, I think, before he goes there in Game Week 21. So that is why I think Salah is a hold. I think it's pretty an easy hold, if I'm honest, but I'm surprised it was at least 60,000 if you're transferring him out.
Yeah, I think if Haaland was fit, and we knew Haaland was going to play against Sheffield, that number of Salah's transfers out would have been a lot higher. Because if Haaland was fit, I probably would have taken Salah out. Because I was looking at taking Salah out this week, and then bringing Haaland in. But because Haaland's not fit, that's made it easy for me. I just keep hold of Salah. So I don't know why managers are transferring out Salah. What are you going to do with that money? Because obviously, assuming you've got Son, there's not really another expensive premium you can go to. Alvarez is very cheap, so it is interesting what people are using that money, the Salah money already. So unless they've gone early and bought Haaland in, which you shouldn't have done that. But yeah, it is strange. It's now over 70,000 transfers out for Salah, I believe.
It keeps going up. It's crazy. But yeah, interesting.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's move on to some ignores then. So players we should be looking to as I said, ignore. So first one up is actually Kudus. Now, I don't know if anyone's seen David Moyes' press conference, but today he did actually say he doesn't know if Kudus is going to be available for Game Week 20, which is against Brighton at home, because for some strange reason, which I don't know if someone might enlighten us in the chat, Kudus is actually going to go away early for AFCON. We know normally it's Game Week 21 where they're going away, but for some reason, Kudus could potentially leave to join up with his national team a bit earlier. So he's a big doubt for Game Week 20. David Moyes still doesn't know if he's going to play. So for that reason, I would not be bringing Kudus in. We know he's done really well so far. He's had a couple of big hauls, in Game Week 16, obviously. Sorry, Game Week 17, the 16-pointer. And then even Game Week 18, he got 9-pointer. So he's done really well if you had him from now. 110,000 transfers in when he's got AFCON in Game Week 21, regardless. And what we saw today, the news about Moyes not being sure that he might not even be available for Game Week 20. I think he's an easy ignore. There's no point bringing him in. As good as he is, he's not going to play, guys. So, I mean, unless you're taking a 1-week punt, and even then, it's just too risky for me. So I wouldn't go there. Now, if you guys haven't watched it, do watch David Moyes' press conference about Kudus. And obviously, it's just some big doubts now. So afterwards, after he's back from AFCON, then I think Kudus is definitely an option. But for now, he's an easy ignore. But yeah, Jordan, the final ignore, you've gone with another selection. You've selected Garnacho, which is interesting, coming off that big 14-point haul. Talk us through this one.
Yeah, I'm surprised of how many transfers Garnacho has got, and it's still going up. But 151,000 transfers at least from you guys bringing in Garnacho. And yeah, he is a midfielder now. He's not a forward like he was last season, but especially for a midfielder slot, I won't be bringing in Garnacho, even though he's 4.7 million. He's expecting a price rise actually tonight as well, which is quite interesting. But even though he did well against Aston Villa and Man United in general, it still doesn't convince me for one fixture, which, again, I'm very surprised at what Man United do come out with each game, because it's not really, you can't predict what Man United will do next. And the fact that they did come back in that Aston Villa game 3-2 and Garnacho scored 2 goals in that fixture, it's not enough to promote me to bring in Garnacho whatsoever, because the next fixture, Nottingham Forest away, Nottingham Forest have seemed to be looking pretty better with their new manager underneath them as well. And even though Man United looked pretty good against Aston Villa winning that game, that still doesn't convince me of bringing them in for the fixtures Manchester United do have next. They're nice fixtures, but you just don't know what to expect from them. And
Yeah.
considering Garnacho scored those 2 goals, he only has 3 goals this season, 1 assist. So 2 of those goals just came from Gameweek 19. Other than that, he had 1 goal and 1 assist. So I don't see enough attacking threat where it's consistent with Garnacho. And as a differential as well, he is at the bottom of my list in terms of differentials to go for. There's many more I could possibly name that I'd prefer to go in front of Garnacho as well. And yeah, I need to see more of consistency from Garnacho before I even contemplate on bringing him in, especially a Man United asset, into my team until I see a bit more, obviously, form coming from them in a consistent way, which is, what's the word? In a way where it's convincing instead of unconvincing for Man United, because that's a lot of there's a lot of matches where Man United have been unconvincing where they've won games, and yeah, that is my reasons for why Garnacho for me is an ignore.
Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Obviously, a lot of managers are bringing Garnacho in. Obviously, he's very cheap, so it could be a little enabler. But I do also agree. Obviously, Man United haven't been convincing so far this season. It is, but I guess it is a punt. He's cheap, so a lot of people will jump on it. But we'll take a few comments and then we'll wrap the stream up. And also, guys, we do have another stream straight after this. So at 8 o'clock, we are doing the team selection. So make sure you do stay tuned for the team selection video. Comment here from Michael. Rank these for the next 5 game weeks: Foden, Richarlison, Odegaard. I'll go first. I'm going to go for Foden, then Richarlison, and then Odegaard in the order you've actually said it. What are you, Jordan?
I was going to go Richarlison, Foden, and Odegaard. Only because of Son going to our Asia Cup, and pretty much leaves Richarlison with free range up front. So that might provide more Richarlison attack and threat. Even though I like Foden as well, I just think with Man City midfielders, they're not as consistent in their team. Like, you don't see Foden scoring mostly every game week or assist here and there. It's like a hot and cold where you see him have a massive, nice game where he scores, but then you might see a few game weeks where he blanks a lot and then scores again. So I think that's why I put Richarlison over Foden. And then obviously Odegaard, he's a bit quiet in terms of Arsenal.
Humaid with a comment. Guys, I really need an opinion on this. Who do I bench out of Nkunku, Sterling, Palmer, Watkins, Foden, Alvarez? What's a tough one?
Triple Chelsea.
I wouldn't bench Alvarez. I wouldn't bench Watkins. I wouldn't bench Foden. It has to be one of the Chelsea guys, and I'll probably go with Nkunku or Sterling. Probably Nkunku. What about you?
I might go for Sterling because I don't see all 3 of them playing. That's the thing as well, because of Nkunku coming back, that means one of them has to go because not all 3 can potentially play in it. So I think I would pick Sterling as maybe the one to not play as much minutes as those 2 will.
Yeah, fair enough. Comment here: as an Arsenal fan, I'd rather stay with Saka than Bowen. Now, I'm not sure. I don't agree with this. I think Bowen's a much better pick right now. Even when I've been watching just the eye test, I've not been impressed with Saka this season, to be honest. I think he was great last season, and Arsenal's attack for me isn't quite there for my, from what I've been watching. I think Saka might nearly have obviously not hit the heights they did last season. That's not to say they can't turn it around. I think Saka was always going to be a popular pick because he's a 90-minute man. He plays every single minute if he's fit. So that I like that about Saka, and that's why he's in my team. Obviously, the fixtures are coming up that are nice, but for me, Bowen right now, I think Bowen's got 11 goals, and I think Bowen's been amazing, to be fair. So yeah, for me, Bowen right now. Neil mentions Broja as a differential. Not really good. Not for me personally. How about yourself?
Nah, not really see much from Broja to convince me of bringing in as a differential for Chelsea.
I mean, with the forwards, obviously we've got 3 spots. I think right now it looks like Solanke. A lot of people have him. There's obviously Watkins ain't going to go anywhere for a lot of people, and then Alvarez, that seems like the front 3. And if you don't want Alvarez, if Haaland's back, you're probably going to have Haaland in there. So for me, nah, I don't see any way I could fit Broja in. I know he's cheap at 4.9, but yeah, not for me. Hey guys, watch the replay of your previous stream. Don't know if you covered it, but Jordan has to use his wildcard before 11 tomorrow night, says Dan the man. So no, so I just to confirm, obviously with Jordan, obviously you've used your first wildcard already. You were on about using your second wildcard, right?
Yeah, that'll be the second wildcard coming down. I was in Gameweek 20. So yeah, that's what we covered in the video last stream. It was for the wildcard number 2.
Dan the man, for my transfers, I think I'm doing Cash to Konsa instead of Gusto while benching Trippier. I think Konsa is a good pick, to be honest. I think Konsa's got a nice fixture, Aston Villa. I forgot who they play again, but I know it's Burnley at home. So it's a nice fixture for Aston Villa. And then I think also when there's a blank game week, potentially in game week 26, Konsa will have a fixture. So again, you can cover that blank as well. But yeah, I mean, those have been the picks, guys. So if you quickly want to recap, Jordan, the players we've selected, the 8 players.
Yep. So to start off with, for the buys, we have Bowen and Julian Alvarez. For the players you think you should sell, we have Gordon and Saka. The players we think you should hold on to is Palmer and Salah. And the players we think you should ignore for Game 20 are Kudus and Garnacho.
Okay, some interesting picks there. Let us know what you guys think in the chat as well. It'd be nice to hear what from you guys. Also, if you haven't already, please smash the like button. Also, do subscribe if you are new around here. This has been the Transfer Tips video. We are actually back again for another stream in half an hour. So we're going to wrap this stream up. And then again, do join us in half an hour's time, 8 p.m. UK time for the team selection video. And we're going to discuss what transfers we're making. We've had to do it the streams like this because obviously it's a very quick turnaround. So we've done a double stream for today. So I want to say thank you guys for watching. See you in 30 minutes for another stream. Anything else you want to add, Jordan?
Keep it short and sweet because we are back in half an hour. Just stay tuned, guys. In half an hour, take a break, have a little relaxation. But yeah, we'll see you in half an hour for the team selection. It should be very interesting what our plans are for that. So make sure you stay tuned for that.
Yep. Take care and see you shortly, guys.